Hey guys, Simon Bryson here, and today I'm going to tell you exactly how much you need to invest into a Roth IRA to then become a millionaire. So by the end of this video, I'll tell you all the pros and cons of investing into a Roth IRA, and also how much to invest, what to invest into, and where to go ahead and open up a Roth IRA, since there are so many options out there right now in the market. Now, if you guys don't know me, my name is Simon Bryson, and I post videos every single day about money, finance, and also even retirement every now and then, and also business plans. So if you want to keep up to date with everything, guys, just make sure to also subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified. On top of that, also destroy the like button. Now, let's get started, guys, okay? The first thing we need to understand exactly is basically, tell me, what exactly is a Roth IRA and how does it actually work? And the answer is that basically, a Roth IRA is a retirement account. It gives you tax advantages to then go ahead and save money in the future. That's the core idea. So basically, when you contribute into a Roth IRA, you contribute your after-tax money. So once you earn the money, you pay taxes on it, you go ahead, you grab that money, you put it into a Roth IRA, and your money then goes ahead and grows tax-free. And in the future, when you take it out, you also get that money tax-free also. With a standard 401k, although you put your pre-tax money into it, when it's time to take money out of it, you will be paying taxes on it. So this way, you save a ton of money on taxes in a way with a Roth IRA, which I will break down the pros and the cons. But before I get to that, guys, I want to answer the question that you're probably wondering right now. Tell me, how is it possible to become a millionaire by investing in a Roth IRA? Now, the idea is, guys, that if you are thinking about this, you're probably thinking about retirement and also how much money you'll have by the time it's time for you to actually retire. So say, for example, your goal is to have $1 million by the time you retire, and you're going to retire in 40 years. So how much money do you need to invest every single month to get to your goal of $1 million in 40 years? And the answer is, all you have to do is literally invest $188.28 every month for 40 years to then go ahead and get $1 million in your Roth IRA account. That's the core idea here. Now, that means that you will require a 10% return on average every single year, and my portfolio is going to give you that, which I will tell you a portfolio and what I invest into also at the end of the video, so stick around for that. But now that we know exactly how much money you need and when you need to invest it every single month, $188.28 for 40 years to get to that goal. And by the way, if you have extra money and you put in extra money into it, maybe like $500 every single month, the answer is you're going to get to your goal a lot faster. How much faster? In around 10 years earlier. So in 30 years instead of 40, you would get to your goal of $1 million. And by the way, guys, if you guys run the math, in reality, you're literally investing $90,000 to then get $1 million in 40 years. And that's all because of three reasons. Number one is dividends. Number two is growth. And number three is compound interest and time also. Because of all those factors right there, you put in 90K in those 40 years, but in reality, you get to have $1 million by the time you actually retire, and all that money is yours, and you don't owe a single penny to the taxes, okay? And that's the cool thing also about having a Roth IRA. Now, let's talk about the pros and cons, and then I'll tell you exactly what to invest your money into, okay? And what I invest my money into personally. Now, the pros of having a Roth IRA start here. Number one, your money grows tax-free. Now, to explain this, basically is, guys, that whenever you invest money into an account, you don't pay taxes until you basically sell those investments. But in reality, if your investments pay you dividends every single year, you're going to pay taxes on that dividends whether you reinvest it or not. But by having your money into a Roth IRA, all the gains basically are growing tax-free. Your dividends, everything is growing tax-free. So basically, if your investment with AT&T is paying you 4% every single year in dividends, the idea is that that dividends is used to go ahead and reinvest the money, and it basically keeps growing and growing and growing and growing tax-free, which in 40 years is going to add up to a ton of money saved when it comes to taxes. That's the core idea. And the second pro, guys, is that basically once you turn 59 and a half, don't forget about the half. It's government law, okay? The idea is once you turn 59 and a half, you can go ahead and take out your money fully tax-free, okay? Contributions, also your gains, everything there is tax-free and everything there is yours, and you don't owe any money to anybody whatsoever. That's the core idea. But if you have, for example, a traditional IRA, well, guess what happens, okay? Once you turn whatever age you turn, when you take money out, in reality, you will still have to pay taxes on it, and that might be between 200 to 100K in taxes, which means that if you have $1.2 million in there, guess what? You don't really have that much money, because in a way, you still have to pay taxes. But with a Roth IRA, all that money in there belongs to you, and you don't have to pay taxes on a single dime of it. That's the cool thing about also having a Roth IRA, one of the pros. And the last pro is that with a Roth IRA, you get a lot of flexibility, meaning that after 5 years, it has to be 5 years, they literally allow you to take out the money you contributed penalty free. So for example, if in 5 years you contributed 30K, you can take that money out penalty free. But if you have gains in there, you can't take that out penalty free. They don't allow it until you're like 59 and a half. So keep that in mind. But there is a way to take the gains out for something specific. For example, say you actually want to buy a house, a home. Well, in reality, they let you take out up to $10,000 of your gains plus your contributions. You can use all that money right there to then go ahead and buy the house you actually want to buy. That's also cool, and that's why I like the flexibility when it comes to a Roth IRA. Pretty cool, right? Now, let's talk about the cons. What are the bad things when it comes about a Roth IRA? And then I'll tell you about, hey, what should I invest my money into? Now, the cons of this, guys, okay? Well, although 5 years is not that far away, it is still 5 years. So say, for example, you start investing today and by next year you have an emergency, you can't take that money out without a penalty. So keep that in mind. Although it is 5 years, have an emergency account on the side. So if you do need to take money out, you don't need to go ahead and dip into your Roth IRA. Keep that in mind. And the last con is that basically, although 6K is a lot of money, say for example, if you want to invest a lot more money, then you couldn't do that because the limit is 6K. Unless you're like in your 50s or 50 and older, you have to put an extra $1,000, but that's only if you're in your 50s and older. And if you are in your 50s or older, then I highly recommend you go ahead and take advantage of being able to put in extra money into your Roth IRA. But for example, if you're not in your 50s, you're capped at 6K. And if you want to invest more money at tax-free and stuff like that, well, you can't, okay? You can't. I'll just put money into your 401k, and that's the only way, okay? But keep that in mind. But a 401k is different. By the way, if you want a video on that, comment down below, let me know, and I'll get to work on that also. But now, let's talk about exactly, well, Tommy, I understand what a Roth IRA is, how much money to put into it to get to $1 million, also the pros and cons, but exactly what should I invest my money into? And by the way, some people think that, hey, if I have a Roth IRA, all I have to do is just put money into it and that's it. But no, you have to pick your investments and select exactly what you're going to invest your money into. Now, I highly recommend you don't go ahead and gamble with your retirement money. And here's why. Because if you invest, for example, hey, I like Tesla, or I like Apple, I like this company or that company, you don't know if in 40 years those companies are going to be around. So I highly recommend, if you're going to invest in a Roth IRA for retirement purposes, I recommend basically you grab that money and invest it into a diversified portfolio of ETFs and also bonds. And that's exactly what I do today. I don't want to be risky because basically in 40 years, a lot can happen and companies can go bankrupt, and some companies will go bankrupt, and you do not want to lose your money because of that. Keep that in mind. So what should you invest into exactly? Well, I have a portfolio that's around 80% ETFs and 20% bonds. And I'm going to share with you guys exactly in this picture, exactly the ticker symbols, the percentages, and what exactly I invest into. And I'll also tell you guys right here, okay? So basically, when it comes to my portfolio allocation, I'm diversified in the US, outside the US, in different industries, for example, into real estate, small companies, big companies, also bonds, also corporate bonds. The idea is I want to be diversified. So basically, when I have a bad year in stocks and they go like this, my bonds tends to go up, okay? Because when bonds go up, stocks tend to go down. That's the core idea. And everything comes back to a level ground. And that's what I want. When bonds go down, stocks tend to go up, and then it brings everything back to a balanced formula. That's the core idea. So basically right now, I invest 38% into the S&P 500. I invest 16% into developed markets. I invest 14% into small cap companies. I invest 10% into treasury bonds. I invest 10% into corporate bonds and 8% into real estate ETFs, and also 4% into emerging markets. Now, if you want to invest into the exact portfolio right here, just use the symbols right here in this video right here and percentages and invest into it and make your own portfolio. But the idea is everything has to stay balanced at 38%, 60%. So if one performs very well one year, you have to bring it back down. And that's why I recommend using M1 Finance, because every time you invest money, it does it automatically for you, and that way you don't have to worry about it. So I'll link down below my portfolio in M1 Finance, and that way you can invest into a Roth IRA immediately with my portfolio copied over automatically. So again, link down below for that. But if you want to use, for example, also ACORNs, they do the same thing over there also. And I'll have my portfolio also linked down below to ACORNs. That way you can invest into exactly what I invest into. And this way, on average, this returns between 8% to 10% every single year over a 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 year period. And by investing this way, guys, basically you don't have to worry about in the future about a company going bankrupt, because this way your investments are actually diversified into different markets and also into different industries, so your money is safer than it would be by just picking a company here and there and saying like, hey, AT&T is going to be around, or this company is going to be around, because basically you don't know what's going to happen in 40 years. 40 years is a very long time. Now guys, lastly, that's pretty much it for this video. But in reality, by this point, you should know what a Roth IRA is, how much money to invest, what to invest into, the pros and the cons of everything, and where to actually invest. For example, ACORNs and also M1 Finance. Don't overthink it. This way you can invest with them, and everything is also fractional shares, so that way you don't need that much money to invest. And on top of that, the last thing is this, guys. I guarantee I'm going to get comments saying, well, I might not get comments saying this now, but the idea is that some people are going to say, Tommy, I don't have $188.28 every month to spare. And the idea is that, hey, if you have cable, cancel it. If you have any bills you don't need, like Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Music, or for example, Apple Music, cancel it. Cancel anything you don't need and put that money into it and make it budget, because usually $188, $48 every single week or so, you can have that money. You do have that money. All you have to do is have a budget to find out exactly where that money is hiding, okay? But guys, comment down below and let me know if this video was helpful. If it was, like this video. On top of that, if you're new here, subscribe and hit the bell so you're notified. And if you want to text me or talk to me one-on-one, just basically subscribe to my Patreon link down below, or just DM me on Instagram at Tommy Bryson. And before I go, if you need a budget and you want a free budget, the one that I basically use every single time I get paid, well, watch this video right here and click my face right now. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.